Can't be contained.
That's what I'm talking about.
Mandy Ferdman, welcome to the Can't Be Contained podcast.
Why is that funny? Why is that
I just
funny to you?
I'm already anticipating the fact that you're going to roast me this entire hour on the podcast. I'm already anticipating that.
I don't know. I mean, the roast that I gave you was really, it took forever to do.
My God. Okay,
So-
you guys, Mandy did my maid of honor speech at the wedding, and it was the best speech ever. I was dying the whole time. Like, it was so genius.
Thank you.
Like, why are you not a comedian?
It took me a long time
Did
to
it?
write. I mean, yeah.
I didn't give you that much time. I think I only gave you like
You
2 months.
did not, but I spent a lot of time on it. It literally, you actually gave me no time. And I had to.
What do you mean?
You gave me like 3 weeks.
Oh, did
I mean, you're like,
Sorry.
hey. Yeah. It was like the bachelorette party. Well, maybe I had 3 weeks because
Oh my God.
it was like in the middle of my Kickstarter launch too.
That's right.
So I
That's
was
right. I threw it in there.
somehow I had to write this
Oh
writing
my
speech.
God. It was ridiculously hilarious. Like,
Thank
I don't even, how did you even go about writing something like that? You guys, I'm going to post it I'm going to try and figure out how to post it. I mean, they didn't record it very well, but
I know. I wish the audio was there.
I
but
think with AI, we can figure some shit
Maybe.
out. I think so. But how the hell did you do that?
I know. I mean, I shared this with you, and this is the first experience I had with this in such a way, but like, I felt that it was going to be funny before I wrote the thing. Like the moment you told me, hey, will you give a speech at my wedding? Like that night at your bachelorette party, my brain started writing it, and I didn't sleep. I actually didn't sleep that night, and I was like, God damn it! I'm like, not now. This is not the time. I can't start writing it now. So I like my brain just started going into creative mode, which was wild because I haven't done any sort of storytelling piece or creative writing, which I used to do a lot of in a really long time. So when I finally went to like sit down and put intention and focus into it, you know, before I would write in the past, I would do storytelling pieces. I would sort of do like a little meditation on my laptop in a coffee shop where I just close my eyes and feel it. And what was interesting about this is there was 2 words that kept coming up, and one was masterpiece. I was like, a masterpiece? Like, what the hell? I've never even given a speech before, let alone masterpiece. And
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. And the other one, I just kept seeing a room of people in roaring laughter.
Oh,
I kept seeing that.
Wow.
It was wild. I was like, okay. And so every time in the beginning, I just wrote down all these different funny moments that you and I have shared and like all these different ways I could make fun of you for. And I just wrote them. I was like, okay, I'm not putting any like, architecture around it. I'm just spitting out the ideas.
Yeah.
And then I would feel myself when I went to write it more coherently. I could literally feel the moment I would hit it. Like the moment that I would share what I'm trying to convey across in a way, and it would just hit it. It would just like click, and it would be, I'm like, that's the one. But I did that with the whole speech, like line by line.
It was incredible. It was a masterpiece, and the entire room was roaring, and it was so unexpected. Like I think sometimes, like when a bridesmaid goes up to tell a speech, the whole room's like, "This is gonna suck." She's gonna be like, "Hey, Chelsea and I met back in," and it was not that at all.
And it's a lot of inside jokes that nobody else gets. And
yeah. Like remember purple potatoes? I'm like, oh, this is so bad. But yours was like so the opposite. Oh my God, it was so good.
Yeah,
it's funny when I think about like you kind of pointed to it and explained it, but it's like that sense there is this creation that wants to be birthed, right?
Yes.
Whatever it is, whether it's a baby, whether it's a creative project, a podcast, a bridesmaid speech, whatever it is. And it does have an energetic feel to it.
Yeah.
And so when we align to it, it's just being burst through us. Like it is pretty amazing. You know, I think the guest that I had on before you, we were talking about how we're retiring the old way of doing business as men and stepping into this new way of business. And this, I feel this concept right here is like one of the main ways women are going to rise in business is through that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting you say that. So like the way I now have more language to what I experienced with that speech. And like, since then I've applied it to my business, to other things in my life. What I feel is like we are in a vibratory accord, right? We are vibrating at a certain level, a certain frequency. whatever we're doing in our lives, we have sort of a baseline. And as we go through our lives, that baseline changes.
Yeah.
You know, we do some healing, we clear things in our lives, we have conversations that are difficult. Our baseline changes, our vibratory field adjusts. And so what I felt in this speech situation is that I understood that that was the timeline I began connecting to.
Yeah.
So when we were in a certain resonance, we begin having access to timelines that are a match of those resonance. And what I could feel is like I was attuning to that timeline of that speech because everything happens at the same time. So it was like I was finding it in the field. Yeah. And just like a radio signal is catching when you're tuning a radio, like I was catching it. That's why I kept writing and feeling, because when it wasn't catching, I could feel it. I was like, that's not it yet. That's not it yet.
Yes.
And then it would hit and I'd like, that's the one.
Yes. You actually have an ability to do this on other people too. I don't know if you remember, but years ago at my Solana Beach house, we were doing some energy work, right? And I like the whole thing that I was trying to do was like really connect to the sensation of love and power simultaneously, like not power over, but just like the love that comes from pure power and potentiality. And I would like find it. You're like, you're on it. There it is. And then like something would move and you're like, okay, you dropped it. So it's like you have an ability. It's weird. It's giving me goosebumps. Like,
that was ego.
That's what you kept saying. That's ego. That's fear or whatever it is. Come back to love. Come back to love. And we just were like playing in, oh my gosh, we need to do this again at my house soon.
I know.
Actually, wait, I think we are doing it. Okay.
We already selected
I was like, I swear
you.
I saw that on my calendar. Okay, cool. It's so powerful. And especially for women, our ability to like open up to the energetic fields, feel those streams that want to come with us and literally be the birthers for it all.
Yes. I think, you were with me in Idlewild during one of my big moments of like connecting to source and feeling what was moving through. During that particular experience, I saw how women turned away from their intuition at a point in time in history.
Yes.
Because we had to.
Yeah.
Because it was part of survival. Because intuition was connected to all of the metaphysical knowledge, knowing, wisdom, even what we did in our lives was sacred. It was a ritual. Yeah. And women had to turn away from that because it became demonized. It became this negative, connected to dark energy. And part of that turning away was also turning away from like how we raise our children. And so that then got passed on from generation to generation. Children are born into this world and their mother is the closest thing to God. Yeah. So to them in that moment, as just embodying into this life, the mother is God. Yeah. And the more she turned away from her intuition, what I sensed in that experience was that was the original rupture of our separation from God. Yeah. And like really feeling that we're alone in this world. Yeah. So it brought me to this place of like realizing, okay, as a mother or as a woman, how do we come back to that connection to intuition, to realigning ourselves and living in a way that is maybe contradictory to what society tells us, but is true, is the deepest level of truth. I think as women come back to that, we're going to see generations that are going to come back to that more effortlessly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's being transferred to the kids.
Yeah, there's this whole like Shakti energy, like the power, the feminine that this world is starving for. Like we need it, right? And our models of how we should live, how we should do business, how we should even have been so distorted by capitalism and all sorts of different things. It's like, what does it actually look like for us to come back to our nature and come back to our intuitions and prioritize our energy over our strategy, our like flow over the force that we have, and how can our lives look different, more beautiful, more aligned, more energetic?
Yeah. It's like every time we're experiencing challenge, it's a thread that's because we pulled too far away from the path of least resistance. That's how I feel about it, at least. And the path of least resistance is the one that's the most directly connected to essence, to God, to source, whatever you want to call it. And as we are pulling ourselves away from that, every time there's a challenge, we're like, oh, why is this happening?
Yeah.
I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
Why is this happening in business and life and with my kids, with my relationship? And when we realize, we're like, well, the thing I actually want to do is too scary because society tells me that you have to have these things in place and this is how it's supposed to be done. This is how it's supposed to raise your kids. This is how you're supposed to market your business.
Yes.
And the more like we've turned away from that a lot, it's been very successful, right? In quotes, for a long time. But that's based on the level of success that we have made the definition for. And I believe that success as a society, I believe we're hitting a failure point over and over and over again, because maybe success in business is oftentimes for a lot of people meaning failure in family and relationship
and health and
mental wellness. Yeah. So the true term of success is kind of, it's based off of what, you know? And I feel that as we, and men too, right? As we come back to what we're being authentic with, like the path of least resistance, it's going to probably look very different than how we've been conditioned to see it.
To see it and feel it. And there's also this societal construct around like even the path of least resistance, right? Like there's parts of even me, like, oh, but it can't be that easy.
Yeah.
You know, like growing up in a family of entrepreneurs and athletes, it was like, you got to work hard. You got to do this. And so retraining my nervous system to actually look for and follow the path of least resistance is a radical rewiring in my upbringing, which I had to like really work it. And I finally feel like at the time of this recording, I'm like, okay, it's smoother than it's ever been. You know, like, oh my God, you have seen me through it all, really, actually. You're
a crazy nutcase, truly. I love you.
The wheels are always coming off, you guys. Okay, this is the truth. She looks calm on the outside. She's crazy. I'm just kidding. I was when you first met me, though. Like, I was a little bit more of a nutcase. What was that, 10, 12 years ago?
I mean, you were just a more like amplified version of you today. Like all that you are was just like tenfold.
And it was just spewing everywhere. It was everywhere. Yeah. It was like everyone was getting a bit of it. It was just like I'd walk into the room and the room would fucking blow up. It was just like a lot. It was like so uncontained. Uncontained. Welcome to the Can't Be Contained. That was like, that is it. So over the last decade, I've learned refinement and potency and ground and like taking this like bigness and go like channeling it.
Yeah.
You know, so it doesn't spew. You and Eric, perfect teachers for me in this.
Well, you are an excellent student in that because you have such power that I've seen you harness over and over again. And when you truly like mindfully, intentionally cultivate it from a place that's not from fear, when it really is connected to your source. I mean, you've done like the most wild and crazy and unexpected things, especially in business, that I think most people, it takes them decades and decades to figure out how to do. So it's like, you got it. And as amazing as that part of you is, it goes the other way too sometimes, right? Like like all of us.
100%.
Every person.
Yeah.
I think that's the interesting part. We don't realize how much we are creating our own catastrophe as much as our own success.
For sure. It's really wild, right? There was years when you hold my, what is it even? It's like, I tell you what I want. Like, let's go back to like when I was dating, right? It's like, I'm like, Mandy, this is what I want. I want this and I want this and I want this. And then what would I do? I would date people that was just
not them.
And I remember there were some years where I was like, I don't want to hang out with Mandy because she's going to call me out of my shit.
Is that true?
I swear to God.
First confession.
I swear to God. I've told Jenny this.
You know, it's funny. I believe I've lost some friends over that.
100%.
Because you are aware of.
That's what you do. You hold people in their truth. And when I wasn't in my truth, it felt uncomfortable to be around you.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Wow.
This was in the days of the dating of the reality stars.
The reality stars.
Not stars. Not reality. Whatever. That during that time period. Right? Where like I'm saying I want this, but I actually want this. And so I think like what you were such a teacher for me in that, because what I was asking myself during that time period is, can I hold myself to the same level of integrity and alignment that she's holding me in?
Oh, wow.
I'm getting goosebumps even sharing that. I've never told you this?
No.
That's wild. I've definitely told all of our friends.
Maybe I should podcast more often with you to have more truths come out. Wow.
There's 10 years of secrets in here.
I know. No, I mean, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. And so, but that's what I learned during that time period. It's like, because it energetically, it was me knowing that I wasn't in integrity with what I said that I wanted, and then you being a gigantic fucking mirror to me, you know? So then the work was, okay, can I actually be in consent with myself?
Yeah.
Can I be in consent with myself over the things that I declare that I desire and truly let go of everything else? That's not that.
Yeah.
Even if that means being single, broke, whatever it is, can I be in full alignment? And that's what I learned during that time period.
And it's scary as hell. And it is so scary to do that.
You also did it in business, by the way. We can keep going.
Yeah.
You would be like, oh, how's that thing going in your business? And I'm like, well, like 2 years ago when I was like kind of out of alignment, I'm like, well, we're still doing it. You're like, you're still doing that? You said 6 months ago that you were done. That person's still on your team, like, right?
Yeah.
And it's just so interesting. So it's like
I'm not going to share anything with Mandy anymore.
No, because I like the slap in the face. I like when it hurts so good,
Sometimes maybe.
I think that's the marker of a good friend. Because if I was spinning my shit and you just let me.
I've seen people do that to each other a lot. I've seen friendship groups do that to each other a lot, where they're like reinforcing.
Just echo chambers.
Yeah. And like, it doesn't really serve anybody. And for what? It's like, it's kind of like a merging pattern, right? It's like, well, I'm going to say this because it's going to keep our friendship peaceful. But it's not true.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, you know me, I can't really lie.
No,
I really don't.
You can't bullshit. You can't lie.
I can't bullshit. It's really not in me. And it's like, if I do, I feel like my reality will reflect it within moments of time. To be like, get your course back on this.
Actually, that's really an interesting thing. And that's something that I've been more and more and more attuned to as we've done more like energy work and plant medicine ceremonies and stuff. It's just like the radical shift in the energetic field when there's something even slightly out of alignment.
Yeah.
Or like I slightly overstepped my boundary, or I slightly people pleased there, or whatever it was. Even yesterday in our friendship group, right? Like something came up in one of the group chats, and it would have been so easy for me to people please in that moment. To be like, no problem, absolutely. You go, girl, I got you. But my integrity was like, I don't want that. Yeah. That's not what I actually want. I want this. Right. And 2 years ago, I wouldn't have done that. I would have just been like, cool, let's do what you want to do. Yeah. But I was like, I don't want to do what you want to do. I want to do what I want to do.
And it feels better because you don't end up holding resentment towards people of being like, oh, I'm doing the same. I'm doing what they want to do. And it's not what I want to do. But it's actually not their fault.
It's not their fault. It's not their fault. It's like, I think one of the greatest gifts that we can give ourselves and we can give the world is being in alignment and saying yes when we mean yes, and saying no when we mean no. But because we're natural nurturers and just like lovers of people, that's an edge for a lot of women.
Yeah.
So how did you develop that? Were you ever a people pleaser?
Oh yeah.
Can you people please me a little bit?
I don't have it in me anymore. No, there's no sign of it in me, especially with you. You make it hard. You make it hard to be a people pleaser.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
That's a great question, because I was a huge people pleaser growing up. And when did that really truly develop? There's a point in my life that I read Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth.
Yeah.
And that was when I became hyper aware of ego. Of my own ego. And as a result, it made me hyper aware when other people were heavily stepped into ego or making decisions from what we might call ego versus like your most authentic self or a place of love.
Yeah.
So when I became aware of that, it was like, it also became a barometer of integrity for me. And since that time, I've worked with so many different practitioners, and we've done so much healing work together and separately, and cultivating alignment, it seems to be something that I've just naturally gravitated towards, but it's also a byproduct of healing work or a byproduct of inner growth work, personal development work. Since I was a kid, I've been doing this. Like I learned meditation really young at 9 years old, and I began reading books about Indian philosophy and Buddhism, and I read autobiography of a yogi at a really young age. So it was like I had a really early start. And so when I became aware of, I'm doing this to keep peace between myself and for people to like me, there was a point of like first becoming aware of that and then still being okay with it. Meaning like I didn't have the courage really to not do that. I was scared I was going to lose friendships. But then there was a point where it becomes repulsive in your body to be that way.
For sure.
Where I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. My body can't handle it anymore. And what am I doing to my life as a byproduct?
For sure.
Because every time you make a decision that's outside of alignment, another way to say that is you're making a decision that's off the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
And so you then begin to add complication to your life because you've now pulled away from the path of least resistance, from alignment. And as I've learned the consequences of doing that, when reality reflects, hey, this is not in alignment for you, and you get smacked in the face, first it comes in as like a whisper, and you're like, hey, it's not a good idea, Mandy. Don't maybe try a different way. Yeah. And I'm like, it's cool.
Everything's fine.
It's fine. I don't mind like letting this person step over me or whatever. Yeah. Then the next iteration of that is much louder, much stronger. And then the one after that is a slap. It feels like you got hit by a truck.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I learned, I was like, I don't need to do that anymore. I don't need to learn that way anymore. Yeah. I don't need to have chaos in order to learn.
Yes.
And right now there's a huge, huge collective purge of learning through chaos, learning through difficulty and intensity, because the connection to intuition, to divine alignment has been lost for so long that people are now reorienting their way back to it.
Yeah.
And it's a process.
Yeah.
And it's usually quite painful until we realize, I don't want to choose the pain anymore.
Yeah. I like how you're using the state of the world as an example for that, because that is what's going on. And I can feel it for myself on like obviously a much smaller scale with like work and business, right? It's like it had to get to a place of feeling so chaotic, so out of hand, so out of alignment for me to be like, no more.
Yeah.
And then come
a few times.
She's like, okay, so 2019, 2021.
I have a spreadsheet ready.
It's true. It's true. And every single time it gets a little less chaotic.
Yeah. And so you're like, ooh, this is, I did it. I figured it out. It's good.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like the question is I love how you brought up the learning through another pathway other than chaos. Because I think sometimes in our culture and even in the spiritual development world, it's like, we got to heal through pain and agony and it's got to be like this. Well, it doesn't actually. There's other pathways of growth and healing. And can we just welcome in that?
Yeah. So in a medicine journey I had, I was in conversation with my guides and I was very angry.
I remember this.
Yeah, I shared this with you. And I was like, you don't know what it's like here. You have forgotten what it's like to be embodied on this planet. What are you guys doing out there? It was like actually the first time I let myself feel anger and rage towards divine, which is really big for me because it's always been a harmonious relationship, but I like let myself really go to the source of it.
For sure.
And I said, I know there are other ways to learn. Why does it have to be so difficult? Show me another way. Like, help me find another way to learn. And I had my eyes closed. I was in my apartment, had my eyes closed, and there was like a light on the left side of me, a light on the left side of me. And I was leaning my head to the right. And it was super, super dark with my eyes closed. I couldn't see anything. And with my eyes closed, I began to like shift my head towards the light side. And within the darkness, with my eyes closed, I started to see formation of things, meaning like the light and the dark is what's giving the contrast to the light, right? So I'm like, okay, God, of course I get it. We need the dark to understand the light. I was like, I get that.
Yeah.
But like, what's the other way?
Yeah.
And then they showed me the light and they said, subtlety. You have to feel. The only reason contrast gets brought in and you need it in such a loud way is because you're not paying attention to subtlety. And subtlety is physical sensation. You're not going to see it in your reality. You're going to feel it first. And so from that point on, I have been like incredibly aware. When something triggers me, even slightly, when I have a judgment about something, even slightly, anytime I feel something in my body contract, I will sit with it. I will be with it and I will give it space to expand and to move because that is the process of subtlety. And truly, 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 since that time, I have not had a massive chaotic thing in my life. And even when bigger challenges arrive, their felt sense is that they're so small.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Yeah. Walk us through your process. So when you get triggered, something arises, a judgment, whatever it is, and you have that charge in your body, what do you do?
Yeah. So I try to do this within a 24-hour period, and I have 2 boys, so it's not easy, right? So, but usually I do this around bedtime or during Phoenix's nap, my 2-year-old's nap. So I will.
so cute. I'm obsessed.
I will essentially sit in a meditative position, connect to the part of my body. I feel the contraction in my body, wherever that is. I feel the charge or the trigger, and I intentionally initiate it to get louder and louder. So I'll close my eyes, I'll feel it. And as I feel it, I just almost like intentionally push it more and more, like not push it out, but I mean, expand it. Like how strong can I feel it? How strong does it need to be?
You permission it.
Permission it fully. Yeah. And as I'm doing that, I also feel like I give it space to be without judging it, also without wanting to change it. So I'm with it, I'm allowing it to be there, and I'm like witnessing it. It's sort of like if a child is having a tantrum, my process with my kids is I hold space and I witness them until they have moved the energy out of their body. And so this is what I'm doing with myself. This little tantrum inside of me that's happening, I'm letting it unfold to the degree that it needs to unfold.
I like how you related that back to parenting. That's beautiful.
Yeah. And so it will at some point in time dissipate, meaning like I'll bring up the experience and the charge just isn't there anymore. I've done this so many times with so many things that I used to have like incessant negative thoughts running through my mind, not necessarily about upsets or anything like that, but self-judgment or self-worth or things like that. And it surprises me now when it comes up.
Yeah.
It blows.
Like,
yeah. I was like,
whose voice is that? Who's got the mic?
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
So it's wildly helpful. And separate from that, it's made things not need to explode in my life anymore. It's like, it really is these small, and when they do arise, when something does trigger me, it is in the most gentle way possible, where I'm like, wow, thank you for giving me this learning this way. Oof. It's usually like a conversation or something like that, you know? And half the time the other person doesn't even realize it, or the situation doesn't even, it doesn't even need to be like declared out loud. It just gets to be. Yeah.
So it's the moment by moment presence of the subtleties and really being with in the moment versus
it's so present.
Yeah.
The level of presence that you need to have is honestly, to some degree, excruciating for the average person because we're so not present in our daily lives.
It was just wild.
Yeah, which is
how
wild.
much beauty is in the present moment and how much we miss it.
Yeah, we have created a world of intense distraction. So these little subtle moments of something being there and noticing it right away. And here's the thing for me recently, if I miss it, my my soul wakes me up in the middle of the night and pushes it in my face. Wow. It's wild. It's happened to me many, many times where like there's something I will miss and then it comes into my awareness in the middle of the night. That night, like I said, I don't have wiggle room. So if I want to sleep well,
you're like, I gotta process this.
Yes.
We gotta get through this one.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah. It's like realigning and cleaning up the energy every day. It's like we brush our teeth every single day.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we do these basic hygiene things, but when it comes to energetic hygiene, we're like, I'll just shove that one down. We'll just forget about that. We'll just people please a little bit more.
Yes.
We'll just not speak our needs. And it's bullshit. It's like it's stopping us from our life force, literally.
It is leaking life force because your energy has to go to that thing that you have not processed regularly all the time. Yeah. And the reality is it feels like it's incessant and like exhausting. You're like, oh my God, I have to do this 24 hours a day. 100%. But the truth is it becomes easier and easier and easier because it's less to process each time. And it's not exactly, it's sort of exponential. It's not exactly like one thing is the only thing. Yes. It's unraveling other things that are tied to it.
Yes. That's the beautiful thing that I love about it is we think it's the content of this one thing, but really there's such a historical timeline of all of those things. So it's like we're doing generational healing when we choose to take those pauses, actually amplify the energy, metabolize it, process it through. It's like we're not doing it for this one thing right here. It's like,
yeah. And we're also not just doing it for ourselves.
Yeah.
Because the energy field we carry is constantly impacting other people. So the people that are closest to you, your family, your partner, they are being impacted on some level. And you'll notice a lot of people that are in healing work, you'll notice all of a sudden the child that hadn't spoken to them in a long time is like talking to them again. Or the parent that they didn't were getting triggered by is no longer triggering them. You know, and it may not necessarily be, it's a two-way thing.
Yeah. It's just so wild to see how reality shifts through doing this work. You know, it's like, yes, there's output, there's aligned action that we need to put into place in order to like reorganize some things. But 95% of it is the inner game, is the realignment. Like that's where all of my hard work is. Yeah. Because the actual like doing of the things is so easy. It's effortless. It's effortless. The hardest part is, who do I get to be in order to do these things? And how can I align my belief and my energy and my power and my identity and all of that stuff so that the action becomes just, of course. Because everything's figure outable. The hardest part is like getting with the self and reorganizing and realigning. Yeah. Then we can just fuck around.
Yeah. I mean,
at that point, right?
You can. I know. I watch what you do.
You shared something a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. What is time? It was so beautiful. It was like the way in which your mission is actualized is through the energetics of your children. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Can you explain that to everybody? Because I just thought that was profound.
So what I learned is when I became a mother, and this is just my unique experience, when I became a mother, it was like my true north anchored in a different way than it had ever had in my life. It became more refined, more precise, and it gave me a sense of understanding like the truth of what I want, who I want to hang out with, how I want to spend my time, what I want to do, what I want to put in my body, bring into my home, all of that, which is how like my company Bathhouse was formed. And what I saw in the process, this was connected to business. So the biggest thing for me with business, the business was born out of love for my children. I created it for my children.
Goosebumps. I just love it so much.
Like truly, I created it for my children. I could not have created it if I was not a mother. My desire would not have been there in the same way. But the part of it that I was struggling with is how do I balance being a mother and being the mother that I want to be to my children, the present, attuned mother that I want to be, spending time with them as much as possible and still running a business. This was a question that I went back and forth on a lot, and I couldn't see a way that was not sacrificing one without the other. And so I was in a medicine journey, and I saw that my children were essentially the closest and most direct access point to me for source, for great spirit, God, whatever you choose to call. For me, they are my true north. So every decision, they are my path of least resistance. Yeah. When I am in alignment to them, when I am truly showing up attuned as the mother that I want to be to them, the other parts of my life are able to reorganize coherently. And when I am fighting it, when I am doing things against what my desires are, against my motherly instinct is another way to put it, then my reality is showing me that my business becomes very difficult.
Right.
And so what I saw is like, as I'm connecting to them, it's almost like a funnel is created of not just in my business, but in my entire life, because it's most aligned. It is most coherent. It is in flow with universal law, energy, and life. And so I am no longer fighting the current. I am now in the current. And when I'm in the current, it is allowing things to move fluidly, smoothly, beautifully, and without resistance and without contraction. It's not saying without challenge, but when challenge comes, even the motion of going through the challenge is with the current.
Right.
You know, it's just like how nature moves through things.
It's such a beautiful reframe. You know, it brings together, because it's like you're nurturing a business and you're nurturing your children.
Yeah.
It's the same energy, you know? And I think when we separate those two, we're like, business is like this and let me show up like this and motherhood is like this. But the amalgamation of both of them is probably a super energy giving.
Exactly. And I think inherently women are creators.
Yeah.
You know, and we kind of separate that. We always put men as the entrepreneurial business, and the reality is we are inherently creators. So whether that's of having children or having businesses or creating things in the planet, being an artist, whatever it is that you create, it is one of the most natural things for a woman to do. Mm-hmm. So when a woman's able to like align to that source energy of however it looks in that person's life. For me, it's my children. For someone else, it can be their dog. For someone else, it can be like the passion or the mission, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, it's your mission for you and your business.
Yeah.
But I think as we are navigating these differences and these changes, it's like, how is it that we can stay in our truth and stay so deeply connected to that truth, not necessarily not taking action or not doing things that you need to do, like marketing or running a team, but how can that be like you are basically reflecting, are these things in alignment with this?
Yeah.
You know, like, is this marketing
100%.
strategy in alignment with 100%.
this? 100%. Yeah. I mean, I've been talking about this with a lot of my female entrepreneur friends, that there's this new way for women doing business, and it's not super solidified yet. We're in the emergence of it, of what it's going to look like, because we both have had conversations around women doing men's work and it just feeling so off. Mm-hmm. What does it look like for you? What do you think?
I mean, I'm still in early stages of my business, right? So I'm going to kind of like tap in and tell you how it feels in my body, because I can tell you, for example, right now, I'm in the phase of interviewing manufacturers, okay? And this is a very, very masculine world. I've not encountered one woman in this process yet. So every person that I'm speaking to, there's what they're telling me, and then there's what I'm feeling. And sometimes the two are connected.
That's such a good, I just got goosies. That's so good.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's sometimes they match, and sometimes they don't. And for example, recently, the most recent one I spoke to gave me a lot of shiny objects, but the feeling in my body was like, there's something off. And again, I didn't process it fully in the day because I went from the call directly back into life with my kids. And at night, my soul woke me up and is like, the word greed kept flashing in my head.
Interesting.
And it said, greed, greed, greed. This is not in alignment. And it showed me the other one that I'm considering and how they felt in comparison. And I was like, wow.
Wow.
It was wild.
That's such a beautiful, tangible example.
Yeah. I mean, truly, it was wild because they threw interesting things that I would have been very, very interested in.
There's what they say, and it's how I feel.
Yes. Ugh. And if I really just took it at what they said, I probably could go down their route. And what that looks like in the future, I can't say for sure. But it doesn't seem like it's going to go in my favor. It seems like it's going to be a path of challenge.
Yes.
So
it's like every marketing agency that I've either worked with or talked to, I get that same feeling of like, you're saying all these things, but my body is like bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. But I've overrode that and hired these big agencies, and it's just been a massive waste of time and money. Yeah. Right. So it's like the cost of not listening to our intuition, the cost of not paying attention to the subtleties and not feeling into the path of least resistance. It's so costly.
It is so expensive.
It's so expensive to not listen to yourself.
And then again, there's a fear that if we don't take the word, if we don't follow the marketing strategy, that will be too expensive because now we're idiots and we're not doing it right.
Exactly. So I'm in it for like stupid amounts of money a month, but then they're like, we need 3 more months. You'll really start to see this click in 3 months. Like just keep going. And my body's like, you're wasting your money. Like these guys don't know what they're doing. They've never done this before and they don't get you. They're not understanding you.
Oh, that's a good point, Sam. That's a good point because that is so connected. So that's also like part of this manufacturing thing is like, I need someone to feel my intention of the product. And I'm not saying they need to care about it to the level that I care about it, because I know that that's a really big ask.
Yeah.
But there's a level of like, at least meet me somewhere.
For sure.
That to understand that like I am not willing to sacrifice integrity, and my expectations I have are high, and I'm not willing to cut corners to produce something that you think is going to make me more profit or make you more profit.
Totally.
I'm not interested in that. And so I don't even want those things presented to me as ideas, because you clearly don't get what I'm doing already.
100%.
You know?
100%. And for you to have the discernment and the awareness to even know that is so beautiful. And that is my wish for women in business, is that they get with themselves. They let their intuition be a board member. Put your intuition on your board of directors above Billy Bob that you pay a lot of money to, who's apparently an amazing digital marketer. You know, it's like, it's a lesson that I've learned many times in my career. And
How many times?
I'm like, I think I finally got it now. Talk to me in 2 years, we'll see. But it's like the times that I've just been so aligned with my intuition and really feeling what my body desires to create. It's just gangbusters, you know?
I've witnessed that in you many times, you know? And it's like you have superpowers in that. And it is so hard to trust that in those moments. I would say it's hard until it's not.
Yeah.
Because you're going to hit a tipping point where you're going to be like, I'm never going back to just taking people for their word or going against what my body is telling me, because there is intelligence and information about things that we can't possibly know with our mind.
For sure.
That hasn't even manifested into this reality yet.
Yeah.
Right? Like like I was saying with the speech, the timeline hadn't happened yet. The speech hadn't happened yet, but I felt it.
Yes.
I felt that it had happened.
So I'm curious about something in your process with life and how you do things. So there's times in my life where, let's use a team member, for instance. A team member comes on and I feel in my body, oh, this person ain't it. I just know with every cell of me. But I also have this other side of my personality. You know this about me. I just think everyone's amazing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I just project onto, like, I see people's potentiality and I think I'm so eager for them to rise into it. You know, I'm like, you fucking got this. Like, let's go. But my body's like, ooh. So, and I get caught of like, do I wait it out and prove myself right? And waste,
that ego.
I know, right? Or do I just go, even though you haven't done anything to show me that you're not a fit, I know you're not a fit and I'm going to cut it now. And I often get my intuitive experience sort of meshed with the 3D, let me see how it goes out. So I end up holding on to things for a little bit longer than I need to.
Just a little.
Because I'm like, you got this, Becky. Come on,
Becky,
let's go. I've never had a Becky, but you know what I'm saying? What are your thoughts on that? I just turned this into a coaching session. This is now for me. Okay.
Yes. This is half our relationship, let's be honest.
I'm like, Mandy.
I mean, vice versa. Half of it is me coaching you, then the other half is you coaching me.
I'm so glad you clarified that, because you just made me seem like, I'm just kidding. Just totally kidding.
Okay. I think, well, there's a couple components to this. The part of you that sees the potentiality in them is a really strong part of you that I think is epically beautiful. And that should not, I encourage you to keep that going, because I think people need to be seen and held in that. But there's holding someone to what I know you're capable of and what is in alignment for me in this moment in time.
Yeah.
And when there's not a match in that, it's not a match, at least in this moment.
That's so good.
You know, just at least in this moment.
You just unlock that for me. Yeah.
And the other piece is, like you said it, right? The part of you that wants to help them to get to that potentiality, part of it is ego.
Yeah.
And the other part, it's sort of like it's kind of like when you date somebody that you're like, oh, but they're so I can help them. They'd be so good.
Yes. As soon as he moves out of his mom's basement, it's going to be great.
As soon as I help him get through this daddy issue or whatever it is, it's kind of, it carries a little bit of that resonance, right? So that too is not
which is
healthy.
Like the savior.
It's the savior. Yeah. And it's also like the challenge in that is when you are helping someone from the savior mentality, to some degree, it takes away from their power, not consciously.
Yes.
Not consciously.
So good. So good.
But it's like, I'm going to be able to help you because I don't trust that you can help yourself.
Yeah.
And whenever we say, I don't trust you to help yourself, you're taking away from someone's power, but also they're handing it to you.
Totally.
So it's two ways.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's not bad. It's beautiful. And we should be there to help people out.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between saying, hey, I know who you are. I think it's a fit right now in this point in time for me to support you because I can see how it's going to support me too.
Yes.
And the reality is the relationship should be resourcing ultimately.
Totally. Yeah.
If it's constant give,
yeah,
and it's draining you,
yeah,
it's not a good fit.
See you later. Yeah.
And that's true of any relationship.
100%.
Business,
yeah.
marriage.
There's also this like really interesting, the time that we're in with AI right now, because AI is so good, so efficient, so amazing. The human jobs, let's just say, have to be so good.
Yes.
Like I'm really noticing that right now. It's like if I have a team member that I'm like chasing. Have you done this? It's like that's wasting my time. I can replace that with AI, unfortunately. Fortunately.
That's the reality. That's where we're moving. And I think it's unfortunately just in this moment in time, it's going to be like, thank God down the line.
For
because
sure.
It's freeing up things that like we have, they're kind of archaic when we think about it. It's like things that we really don't need to be doing.
Yeah.
As humans,
Yeah.
a lot of them. And some of them are going to replace like more advanced things down the line. But yeah, it's true. And even if that wasn't available yet, let's say AI wasn't in the picture, the reality is if you are expending time and energy, which it costs money, into someone over and over again, and it is depleting you, then there's a problem.
Yeah.
It is not a match.
Yeah.
Your team,
I used to do that all the time.
Did you? I had no idea.
I'm like, they're so close. Give them another quarter.
Yeah.
I just don't have the tolerance for that anymore.
By the way, a lot of people, especially visionary leaders, have that tendency.
Yeah.
Because you want to build people up. Also, you are a transformation company, essentially, right? You are in the business of helping people transform and stand in their power.
Yeah,
so of course, that is your nature. You want to do that.
Yeah.
I've witnessed my husband do the same thing. He is in almost a similar, exact same position as you in a different company, right?
Yeah.
And he's done this similar thing. And it's hard. It's really hard because you feel like you're turning your back on them. And we had this conversation at some point. You're like, I feel like I'm going to drop them and turn my back on them. And the reality is you could be like, well, I think like internally you could be saying, I trust their divine process.
Yes.
And this is not a fit for me right now.
Yeah. Yeah. About like 8 months ago or so, 9 months ago now, I had examples on my team where it just felt like, oh my God, like it's such a match where like they show up powerfully and in their leadership, I show up powerfully in my leadership, and we just get to solve higher quality problems. And I'm like, this feels so good. And I sat with myself and I said, what would it feel like and look like to have a full team, everyone's aligned? And the energy that I felt in that meditation was just like so vibey, like so epic. And I'm like, all right, these team members are my avatar. These are the team members that I want. And I didn't focus on like, let me develop everyone who's not that. Because guess what? The law of energy, those people just left anyways.
Oh, interesting.
It was just effortless. And then I just got to keep doubling down on the people that are just like a true soul match. And I can use my energy for things that actually matter.
Yeah. Because you're not depleted at that point.
I'm not depleted. In fact, like I love going on to Slack and my team members being like, I got this, we did this, I did it, I'm like, great. This is amazing.
Feeling, yeah.
Oh, and by the way, we're profitable because we're not wasting money on like stupid shit anymore, right? So it's just like, but that was not a function of like the 3D. That was a function of like me getting with myself and valuing myself enough to set those standards. And it's still something that I'm still like working on. It's like the delay and like, I feel it. Let me do something about it immediately.
Good for you. Good for you, Sam. That is such a good distinction too. You're like, it wasn't anything I changed in my company. It was an internal shift first. And then you bring it forward into the 3D reality.
Yeah.
So that's such an important distinction because it's easy for someone else to come and see, oh, but this is what she did. And it's because this person left.
Yeah.
But like, no, there was a lot of work behind the scenes.
100%. I mean, that's all the work.
That's all the work.
I feel like life is so easy the hardest part is the inner game.
Yeah.
That's everything.
Yeah.
Everything else is so easy. What are we doing? We get up, we eat, we fart around, right? It's like everything else is so easy. The hardest part of that entire thing is getting with the self, shifting our identity, up-leveling our energy. Like that's the work. Everything else is just whatever. But someone once told me you choose your hard. Right? So it's like the hard that I'm willing to choose every day of the freaking week is the inner game so that everything else becomes easy.
Yes.
Versus if I didn't do the inner work, life would be hard.
Yeah. And it's forcing you to do the inner work.
It's forcing you.
Anyway.
It's shit kicking you in there.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so true. It was like chemistry precedes physiology, right? So whatever's happening chemically in your body is what's creating your physiology. And what I believe is like energy precedes all of those things.
Yeah.
So if you really want to get to the true source of what's happening that's off in your life, it has to be the energetic experience, the energetic container that you're creating.
Yeah, especially with like wealth, abundance, money, it's like the holding the momentum. If I've learned anything about that, it's holding the momentum of the field even when the 3D doesn't match. And I think there's something so radical about that, of like, I used to take rides with my revenue, it's like, oh, we're up, amazing, I'm up, oh, we're down, I'm down. It's like, can I hold a vibration of abundance and wealth and infinite potentiality no matter what the business is doing?
Yeah.
And I think I'm almost there.
And another way to say what you're saying is, can you always be in stability?
Oh, that's great.
Because that's...
Oh, I love.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you always be in stability? Because when you're in stability, you are feeling support. You are undeniably in acknowledgement of support around you. That is unseen and seen too.
Yeah.
But it's the ongoing acknowledgement of that. And that is what leads and adds on to the abundance, the internal peace, the mental well-being, harmony in relationship.
Yeah.
When you are really in stability, because everything else that we're reacting from, everything else is either from fear or resistance to our reality.
Yes. Yes.
The antidote to resistance, to challenge, is to be in peace or to stop being in resistance.
Yeah.
When we're in resistance, that's where there's no peace. The only reason we are not feeling internally peaceful is because we are in resistance to something that's happening.
Outside of us. Yeah. So how do we get out of that?
It's a cultivating of stability. Exactly what we're talking about. It is being with the moment by moment, micro decision making, moment by moment, when things arise, just what we talked about moments ago, of like being with those contractions, those triggers, the parts of you. If you feel like you're sick to your stomach about something, be with that feeling of being sick to your stomach. And if you don't have the tools to support you in navigating them, I encourage you to find tools in some way. Breathwork is an excellent way to move energy, right? As we know. Yeah.
Free 14-day trial.
Yeah. It is. It's an excellent way to move energy. Yeah. And there are many modalities of that. So you pick your medicine as it aligns to you, as you feel called to.
Yeah.
And I think when we are able to get ourselves to a place of like, okay, I'm not... Even when things come up, it's not earth-shattering anymore. If you can at least get there, you will have more freedom in your life.
So good.
So much more freedom.
So good. Yeah, it's can we hold it all, but it not be heavy? Right?
Yeah.
By expanding our emotional capacity, energetic capacity.
And even another layer, I would say, is it may not even be necessary. There's like discernment of what we need to hold also.
Yeah.
It's being with everything and realizing I don't really need to hold this piece anymore.
Right. And intentionally letting it go.
And through that process of being like, okay, I don't need to carry this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I think one of the loops, not loops, but like part of something that people carry a lot right now is politics. They go into their like justice warrior part on this is right, this is wrong, or whatever is happening in the world right now. I got to experience an incredibly beautiful moment with my family for Father's Day, where my husband's side of the family came in town and his brother and his whole family was here. My dad was here, and my brother-in-law on my sister's fiance, he was there. And what that looks like is a Ukrainian-Israeli family, like Israeli, Latvian, Ukrainian family, sitting with a Lebanese family.
Wow.
Sitting with an Iranian family.
Wow.
At one table together.
I have full body. I know I read this text that you sent on this, but I got full body goosebumps.
Yeah. And while we were sitting together, sharing an amazing meal with tears streaming down our faces because we're sharing love for each other and gratitude and moments of awe, we acknowledged in that moment, missiles were flying over every single one of our countries right now, in that moment. And yet we were on the other side somehow to be fortunate enough sitting in this place we call California in the United States, somehow where we can sit in peace, where we can sit in unity, and we can sit in true love for each other. And it felt so important. It felt like it was like we were radiating, you know, to the places that didn't have that yet, to the timelines that are still catching up, I hope.
Yeah. Dude.
And when we get out of those loops, when we get out of being stuck that way,
then
things become possible that we're like, I mean, I don't think any single one of us when we were growing up thought that this would be where we'd be at in that moment in time.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
As far as we were all concerned, the media we grew up with told us we can't even be friends.
Yeah.
Let alone family.
Wild. Oh my gosh. What a precious moment.
Yeah.
What a precious moment.
It was so special.
Oh, dude, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about Bathhouse quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. I am obsessed with this company. I am so excited for the future of it. I feel like it's going to change the freaking game. And you were the perfect person for it.
Thank you.
It just feels so right and real.
Well, I didn't share this with you yet, but my utility patent got approved.
So
I got the notice of allowance that it's approved.
That's amazing.
Basically, yeah.
That's huge.
It's so big.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So now you're the only one that can do this concept.
Yeah, it gives me the rights to any built-in filtered bathtub spout.
Oh my gosh.
In the United States.
Huge.
I'm so grateful.
That's amazing.
Amazing. It just happened this week.
Are you taking
I just got the
investment?
notice this week. I am taking Aligned Partners.
I said it. How did it feel?
We'll talk. Yeah.
So epic.
Yeah. So that was a really big piece. I had the design patent already, but this was like I was just waiting on it. So I'm so grateful that came through this week. Incredible. And yeah, so I'll just share a little bit. Like when I had my firstborn son, who is now 6.5 years old, my husband and I are like insanely healthy people with being super mindful of toxin exposure and just living an optimal, healthy way. And so when this little innocent baby is born into the world from being in this like sacred womb of protection, comes into a world that's just full of all these crazy things, it's jolting to your system.
Yeah.
And you realize, like, I thought I was a really healthy person before. And then I started seeing all the things, you know, that can kill your child. You just like, it just like pops up all at once. I think a lot of parents agree when you drive home from the first car ride you ever take, you have never been more terrified of every road on the car. You're just like, everyone's trying to get us right now. Everybody. So I very quickly realized we rent homes right now. We don't own a home. So in our home, we had like, you know, reverse osmosis filtered water. He was breastfeeding and then eventually went to organic food and regeneratively farmed this and 100% cotton, organic clothing and all these things, right? The diapers are as low tox as they could be. But then I put him in a bath at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it's just, this is tap water that's coming from our city that is full of crap. It is full of crap.
Yeah.
And I was like, we're in California, you know, it's got to be better. So I went to ewg.org/tap water, which you can do. And you type in your zip code and then it shows you like contaminants in your area. And it shows you the legal limits of the government. And then it shows you what they recommend, which are different, very different. Sadly, very different. So I was horrified and I was like, oh my God, we need to find a bathtub filter. I was like, there's so many shower head filters on the market. It has to, I'll just get a bathtub filter. And I went looking very innocently, assuming this product existed. And what I found, which is still the only one on the market, are like different hanging ball variations that you can hang on your tub. There's two problems. One, they spill over a lot. And the other one is it's a very, very minimal filter. Yeah. So I put it on because it made me feel good. But what it was actually doing, I don't know. But based on what it looked like, I'm like, I don't think there's much coming out.
Yeah.
So, but I did that for years. And I had the idea of like, well, why don't we just put a better filter in this ball thing? And I could just, like, that's where I started. I was like, I just want to improve upon this hanging ball, put a better filter in, and, move on with our lives. And I thought it was going to be super easy because it already exists in the market. And of course, when you go to engineers, they're like, well, you can't do that because it's always going to spill over because a better filter takes more time to drain the water through. So the more intense filter you put in, the more is going to spill over. So I was like, okay, what are the other options we got to look at? And I worked with an amazing engineering team that I'm still working with today. And ultimately, we came to the final, what is now Bath Haus.
So good.
Which is, name. Thank you.
Yeah.
Which is a built-in, it's a full faucet tub spout head. So it's the full, like what you would see on any bathtub, but it's made to have a built-in water filter that twists in and twists out. So you get the whole component together. We ran a Kickstarter in October, and now we're still doing pre-sales on the website, but I'm now interviewing the manufacturers, finding the one that's most aligned. And hopefully we will be moving forward with that really, really, really soon in terms of bringing the product fully to market, which is very
so epic.
Exciting.
I'm so excited. Can we pre-order now?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll put the link to Bath Haus in bathhouse.com.
It's actually bathhousewellness.com and Haus spelled Haus.
Amazing.
And it's
so exciting. It's going to blow up. I know it is.
Thank you.
It's so great. It's such a good idea.
It's a gap in the market that I was shocked did not exist in a better way. And I'm so grateful to be able to bring it forward.
So exciting. You're not really on social media. So I think the best place.
I have a repulsion to it a little bit.
I know. I'm like, people don't even know that you're like my closest friend. Like, you're never on social media, which I love that about you. I love that. So the best place would be bathhousewellness.com.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on. I love you so much.
Thank you for having me. Love you too, babe. Thank you. This has been fun.
So good. Thank you to everyone tuning into the Can't Be Contained podcast. If you loved this episode, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share it with someone that you absolutely love to bring value to their life as well. Have a beautiful day, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Bye, guys.